guys, what's up? It's your boy Tomato, and we're back at it with another video. Today we're going to be discussing Broly versus Jiren. Now, this has been a topic between the Dragon Ball community, and whenever I search it up on YouTube, it's mostly animated fights, but not really the logistics of who would actually win in presenting feats. But today I'm going to be doing that. I'm going to be giving off feats, statements, and arguments, and leaving it up to your interpretation on who you think wins. I'll be going over anime and manga, and maybe some of the light novels, but those are the only things I'm gonna go over. The light novels don't really count, but they're just an added on bonus. We'll be going over the anime first. With that being said, make sure you comment, like, subscribe, and share if you really like this video, and let's get into it. So we're gonna start off with the behemoth known as Broly. And for one feat that Broly has is he should scale above, or at least be relative to, a Super Saiyan Blue Goku, and in his Akari form. They do show relativity, but for the sake of this, I'll just say that Broly is stronger, even though that there is relativity there. We know that Broly should logically be 50 times stronger than Super Saiyan Blue Goku in Super Saiyan, and that means he should scale above a Kaioken times 20 Goku, since a 50 times amp is much greater than a 20 times amp if they're showing relativity. In his Super Saiyan form, we see him fight Gogeta. Now in the anime movie, he's getting ragdolled by Gogeta. Like, it's not even fair or close. He might get 1 or 2 punches, but it's not really effective. In the light novels, it's actually like Broly shows relativity to Gogeta Blue, and it's like slightly doing more pulling out more punches and hitting him a lot and affecting him. But then again, they do say that Gogeta was being cocky and was holding back. Some other things that are within the light novel for Super Saiyan Broly is that actually downscales him is that Frieza and him were showing relativity, and like some of Frieza's punches were very, like, if they landed on Broly, could be very damaging. Though Broly was winning the fight, it just goes to show how much of a tank Golden Frieza is, and how really good Frieza actually is, even though he was losing the fight for majority. As for legendary Super Saiyan Broly, he should scale above a Super Saiyan Gogeta, as we do see him beating him up, and that forces Gogeta to go Super Saiyan Blue. Now, this is not to say that Super Saiyan Blue Gogeta was the only thing that could have beaten Broly, or that was the one transformation. I think that's like, if they had gone maybe Super Saiyan 3, it could have been enough, or God would have been enough, especially because when he went blue, he was just like playing with Broly. And in the light novels, like Blue Gogeta, like it states directly that like Broly is getting fond, or like it's not even close, or it was unnecessary. Like Gogeta was literally taunting him. So I do not think that Super Saiyan Blue or Broly scales to Super Saiyan Blue at all. I don't think Blue was necessary to beat Broly. I think maybe Super Saiyan 3, or if you want to go to the max, God would be enough. But just to say that Broly in his legendary Super Saiyan form, as for the anime, he should scale above Gogeta and Super Saiyan, who in turn should scale above Super Saiyan Blue Goku, and all that good stuff. We'll get into some statements and arguments for Broly after that, but as for right now, this is where Broly stands. We can get into Jiren. So the thing with Jiren is, for one, Jiren should scale massively above SSB Goku full power, and episode 123. Bluntly, Vegeta states that this is the heaviest ki that he's ever encountered by Jiren, and this includes everyone who sensed Goku's power when he was fighting Kefla. Not to mention the fact that Belmont says that Jiren hasn't used this much power in a long time, and Goku, when he finally goes Super Saiyan full power, is able to combat this Jiren and show relativity to this Jiren. After that, Jiren makes or Goku presses Jiren that much that he has to use some form of hit of his power. So basically the scaling goes that anyone below UI Goku when he fought Kefla and below, Jiren all scales above to that point, of course. Scales above 123 Goku and so on and so forth. Jiren being able to practically be stronger or beat Goku times Kaioken times 20 Goku and Vegeta and fight a UI3 Goku. And keep in mind that UI Omen should be a greater multiplier than Kaioken times 20, as when he fights Jiren with the spirit bomb amp added onto it, he is not able to defeat Jiren. And with UI, when he first shows it, he's able to be on par and show relativity to Jiren when it wears out. Pretty consistent. We already know it's like a pretty consistent thing whenever Goku keeps out UI for longer, or his period of thinking, because we states that Goku is kind of losing because he's thinking while using Ultra Instinct, like a 50-50, and it's not really effective that much. Even when he's not thinking and UI is taking control, Jiren still beats him. Now, as for the manga, nothing I really says changes, except for in the manga, they show much better relativity. Their UI fight is really short, like, it's really short, and then Goku goes MUI, so I'll finish up the rest of the manga because the anime, you have to go more and more to detail. The manga is quicker. Now, in the manga, Goku and Jiren, when they're fighting their MUI battle, they show a general sign of relativity. Krillin then implies that Goku is winning because he's landing more blows. We somewhat disagrees with this statement and saying he's countering faster now through sheer determination. Shortly after this, Jiren knocks Goku out of MUI. Now, it could be interpreted that Goku's MUI was wearing down and running out, but I could simply due to the fact that Jiren just has much better feats. It's safe to say that Jiren scales above a untrained MUI Goku. Now, for where the anime stands, we see Goku and Jiren the first time they fight in MUI, and Jiren's getting fondled, like it's not even close. He's getting beat up, getting his back blown out, etc. It's like not a fair fight at all. Keep in mind, the Kai of their universe said Jiren was at full power here when he was fighting MUI Goku prior to limit break, of course. We see a full power Jiren break his limits, and to be fair, he starts ragdolling this MUI Goku that we just saw scale above a full power Jiren prior to limit break, and he even pins him down and beats him twice. And then the second time, everybody thinks Goku has lost, to the point where Bulma is shouting "we won" and tells Jiren to finish off Goku. We know that MUI Goku the first time scales above a full power Jiren prior to limit break, and limit break Jiren scales above this MUI Goku. Yeah, Jiren is the GOAT. After Jiren's mighty triumph, hints of power, Jiren scales above everyone over the TOP and through episode 121. Basically anyone past that he scales above, and he also scales above SSB Goku Kaioken and Vegeta Evolution. He scales above UI3 Omen Goku and prior to AMP UI Goku. Now we can get to statements and arguments. Alright, now we can finally get into statements. Now, a problem with Broly is that Broly just does not have defeats. You're gonna say, what do I mean? Then I just present a whole section for Broly. Well, those feats aren't really something to be happy about, especially because Jiren either outclasses them or just does way better. The only thing that could give Broly is like he fights like maybe a somewhat stronger SSB Goku, but he shows relativity to him. And then Super Saiyan, he is 50 times above him, like I already stated. Whereas Jiren, with only a hint, like a true hint of his power, flashes a punch at Goku that knocks him out of base and says that landed, I might have killed him or it could have been over. a heavily suppressed Jiren who's just showing a true, like, somewhat hint of his power. It's a 20 times stronger Goku and is still able to beat him and Vegeta teaming up on him. So now there's a 30 times. Now the thing is, we see that I think it's safe to assume if Jiren goes full power or even like 50% of his power, he should outscale Broly in Super Saiyan, especially since this Broly was showing relativity to Frieza. I mean, no, only in the light novels, my bad. But I think it's safe to say for like 70% of his power, or you know, 50, it would be enough to at least match or rival Broly. Super Saiyan, of course, and we don't know how quantifiable legendary Super Saiyan Broly is, especially since we don't have any good scaling for legendary Super Saiyan Broly. The only thing we have from him is that he scales above a Super Saiyan Gogeta, and then he gets ragdolled by like a blue Gogeta. The only thing I could say is that he states that fusion is the mixture of two people times, from what you can interpret when he first talks to Frieza and describes what he is. But then I could just argue, or a devil's advocate, that it's referring to base, so base times base, and then you can stack all the multipliers on. Might be backed up, especially because Gotenks in the first Dragon Ball Z manga, when he turned in base, he couldn't go Super Saiyan, and when he was fused in Super Saiyan, then he wasn't Super Saiyan. He later on goes to resolve that problem, but this could be a factor that could come into play, especially since Goku and Vegeta are new to this technique, as they're not as well versed as Goten and Trunks are. Base Goku times with base Vegeta added plus the Super Saiyan Blue multipliers. You can't really, even if you say that, we've already seen Jiren taking on Super Saiyan Blue Goku and Vegeta at the same time. So, like, what's to say that he can't take on like a Super Saiyan Gogeta with like a hint of his power? Now, there's a statement that a lot of people like to use for Broly, and it's Goku essentially saying that he probably is stronger than Beerus. Now, a lot of people like to, you know, just quickly assert that, oh, Broly over Beerus. Well, there's an actual problem to that. For Goku to be making this claim, he would have to have a gauge on where Beerus' power is. A lot of people try to counter this and say, Goku, can you prove that Goku knows how strong Beerus is? You know, at full power. Well, Goku already has a measure on Beerus based off of Jiren. We know that before the TOP, Whis already tells them that there's a mortal that surpasses the gods himself. Now, this mortal is obviously referring to Jiren. When Goku and, you know, Jiren first fight, Belmod or Whis then confirms this, that this is Jiren. So now, if he has a benchmark for Beerus being the Jiren that he fought that was heavily suppressed above the gods, and Broly is probably stronger than him, and we could say this is based off his LSJ viewing of him when he was fused with Gogeta. It'd be really dumb to say if he's like stronger than Beerus in SSJ or in base when we know that just not to be the case, especially with the feats I presented. So this would mean that LSJ Broly is as strong, or maybe like stronger than that Jiren that was suppressing himself. So this statement could be very contentious. Now you have a Jiren where it's stated multiple times. Like you can go like out in a grass field, find multiple statements of Jiren being above the gods. I'll present some of them here. Now you have it as to where you have a Broly that contentiously could scale above Beerus, but I'll just give it to him due to the scaling that I want to present. As you have a Jiren who consistently is shown to slap gods and was about to, and were even scared when Jiren powered up. This Broly being full power LSSJ, and this being a hint of power Jiren. People also try to use, or an argument that I've seen is that it's stated in like a promotional guide that Broly is the strongest villain villain that they've ever seen. Now in this promotional guide, it can be interpreted as that Broly is the strongest person in the movie villain, not in the whole entire series. You could interpret it that way, but even where we were to say this would just be inconsistent, and even without that, Jiren is not referred to as a villain. He's referred to as like a martial arts opponent or a foe. it's been shown multiple times and stated, especially with the context of the TOP, it wouldn't really make sense for Jiren to be the main villain. Mostly viewed as a martial arts tournament. And in the martial arts tournament, aside from like the one where they fight Piccolo for the first time, you cannot really say that there's any major villain. Like saying the main villain of the first Tenkai Ichi Budokai Goku participates in, Master Roshi is the main villain, when we know that to not be the case. There was a promotional guide for Jiren and some Dragon Ball stuff, calling MUI the apex of martial arts, and not to mention it says that Jiren is one of Goku's strongest rivals. Broly isn't there, which would entail that Broly is a villain. Way that Beerus is there, and Beerus isn't really regarded as a villain aside from maybe Battle of Gods. There's, now to get that out of the way, there's also this statement in an interview with Toyotaro stating that people who Goku has to catch up to, being Whis, the Grand Prix, Beerus, we'll get on that in another video, and Broly. Now, Akira Toyotaro doesn't state this. The interviewer is the one who states it. He cuts Toyotaro off, and he doesn't really know much about Dragon Ball because he stopped nearing BOG, and so that's why he's asking him so many questions. Even if we were to say Toyotaro said this, for one, debt to the author, because Moro is the strongest person Goku's fought, and Goku's bitch Moro, I think we all seen that. And we states he knows nobody's stronger than Goku and Vegeta, and he fought Broly. Here are two more arguments. The narrative argument that each Dragon Ball villain is supposed to be stronger than the last one. Well, we've already covered that Jiren isn't a villain, so that wouldn't matter. And the multipliers argument, essentially saying that if Broly was relative to an SSB Goku, and this SSB Goku is stronger than the ones in the TOP, I don't even think he's stronger than Kaioken times 20 Goku in the TOP. He is 50 times stronger, and then if we do the 50 times thing, he would be above a Kaioken times 20 and maybe match Wyoming. And then in LSSJ, the multiplier can be unquantifiable and it would be above, MUI, which is already above Jiren. Now, the problem with this is that we do not know the exact multipliers of UI and MUI, and we don't know the exact multipliers of legendary Super Saiyan Broly. This argument would have to be an argument or an appeal to possibility, and there's no concrete evidence behind this, so you could just dismiss this with a Hitchens razor. You don't even have to use this, you can use your simple head. Are you gonna tell me that there's like a 30 times difference with Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken and MUI, when MUI has clearly shown to be far greater than that? Don't know a definitive answer for LSJ Broly, so unless you give like a calc, and power levels can't really be used anymore to find out the multiplier because they stopped using them after the Cell Saga. Like, this argument has to be a complete appeal to possibility. Leave you with this interpretation. You have somebody who is consistently stated to be above the gods of destruction, heavily suppressed, and we see they get stronger throughout, and with the hint of their power, and they just scale above everyone into the TOP up until that point. Now he loses to somebody who is way above, not like way above the gods, and then he limit breaks again and is like now just like a league of his own above the gods, and then the other person limit breaks again, and you got show relativity but you still lose. Mention the fact that a UI before you fought again at the third time was already scaling way above the gods of destruction, versus somebody who is contentiously above the gods and could be relative to your suppressed self at the start of the TOP, then gets immeasurably stronger. It's just pretty clear that Jiren stomps out Broly. The only reason I can see why Broly, or most people think Broly wins, is because he's probably more popular. But that's my take. Any Broly arguments is just disingenuous, can just blatantly not work. But that's all for today. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoyed this content. Leave comments down below. My next video isn't gonna be a Dragon Ball. It's gonna be a Yu-Gi-Oh video scaling Yu-Gi. But I'm gonna take one break from editing, then I'll do the recording and stuff like that. But have a safe day, y'all. Be tagging down some arguments or some people that help with this video down below. Go check them out. Picture is the equivalent of what will happen in the fight.